regular season as we now head on to the Rift for game number 2 of Beyond versus Impunity. Can Impunity tie up the series 1-1 with their full engage comp? They're running it back. Is it the salty run back, do you think, or is it more of an optimistic run back?
Oh man, I have no idea. I mean, maybe Impunity, they're just giving the first 2 games they can do a reverse sweep of their own potentially. You know, they want to feel the same way that PSG felt.
That could be the play, actually. It is perhaps a bit riskier for them, though, right? Because if you do fall down in the series, you are just completely eliminated from playoffs. And some interesting stuff picked up already. It is the flash on the Kai as opposed to the Ghost, as well as double Ghost on the ADCs. Phase Rush on the Galio is kind of an interesting one. A lot of the time on the Galio, you see a bunch of different keystones, the Phase Rush, Spellbook, and the Aftershock, all for different reasons. But goes to Phase Rush with the Darkseer, which I think is kind of an adaptation against Victor. It allows you to get out of that W, which is very important for avoiding taking a lot of that damage back. The Darkseer was a pretty greedy option, but we'll see if he can make it work, as looks like Alex is going to get himself a leech, and Kongyue, the jungle slave, is going to have to solo start.
Indeed, yeah, forced to take on that red buff by himself. BYG, on the other hand, their bot lane looking to set as much dominance in the bot lane at level 1 as possible. Kino sitting in that far bush.
It is the cult once again picked up by Atlan. Going to respect this level 2 a bit harder this time. Zeri Lulu obviously doesn't have quite the same all-in as the Zeri Leona might, but it still is very, very strong in lane, can poke you down very heavily. And mid lane as well, 116, he's gone for that first strike, so he's playing for a bit more scaling and should kind of have pressure over this lane no matter what, although misses the first laser of the game. Never a good omen.
I think Driver just missed 2 CS as well.
Do get that on the big jobs. And it looks like Fang and Kino, they're trying to get very aggressive once again. And this is the thing with the Kai'Sa, is that can kind of feel, you know, while you are strong in those skirmishes, before you get your upgrades, you don't really come online and do have a bit of time. You know, versus that Zeri Lulu, you can kind of match the scaling in a way. And it's really a different form of scaling, right? You kind of have your very strong dive potential, but perhaps don't do as well in a pure front to back.
Yeah.
For the most part, though, lanes are going as expected. I'll be looking a lot towards the mid-jungle of Impunity post-level 6 and see if they can find anything by moving around the map. And I think if you can't manage to kill Feng with this composition, you're not going to be able to kill him with anything, because they really have chosen pretty much the best possible champs for doing this.
Look, we said that last game as well.
True. Yeah. It was pretty close. Driver, he's the one getting priority up here. Is going to be pushing in, look for a little bit of a trade onto Likai, and Alex is in the river, so most likely we'll just be looking towards that top scuttle. Is perhaps going to drop a ward or maybe just clear this one out. First, yeah, does drop that ward over the wall. Should be just a scuttle trade here, as both junglers will pick up scuttles on the sides of respective prio.
Yeah, he's going to be walking in as well. The bot lane is kind of stranded on an island, but I don't think there's enough dive potential for BYG to be able to pressure them. And they have got a wave stacking up as well.
Yeah, it is pushing back out, and they are going to need Alex to reset back to this bot side, probably to shadow them as they try and crash it in, although might just actually be pushed back from the side of BYG. We'll have to see what they end up going for. And mid lane, you know, so far, Mission hasn't really fallen behind at all. It's getting priority, but the priority doesn't really turn into anything early. It does now take quite a lot of damage, and this is always the dynamic you have with Galio and Victor. You need to try and get enough done in kind of those, you know, pre-20-minute fights before Victor really hits his stride. Alex is in the area, and I think the pink actually reveals him here.
Yeah, I wonder if BYG have even picked up on this. It does seem like they're playing a little bit safely. Oh, Nature gonna look for the grand entrance, but not gonna connect onto Feng.
And most likely were aware of it.
Yeah, I feel like Alex could have potentially gotten off, you know, gotten away with something if he didn't drop the pink, but I guess he kind of has to make sure that he's not sitting on a ward.
Yeah, always the risk versus reward there, and unfortunately did not pay off for him. His dragon will now spawn, and Victor is going to be forced to reset. And currently they have mid and bot priority on the side of Impunity. Resets haven't come through, though, from bot lane. So I wonder if they will look towards this dragon or not. As trades are coming out in bot lane, and it is, I think, Alex who is actually going to return to bot, maybe.
Yeah, starting up the dragon as well. Impunity, they have the bot priority available. Mission as well on the move. He's hit level 6 already as well. So 1-1-6 out of mana and forced under his turret. Not going to be able to return much of his own.
A lot of damage traded back, though, as it looks like this first dragon will most likely be picked up here very early into the game. And Driver is getting very, very low, was actually forced to flash in that 1v1.
Yeah,
and could be in trouble.
Ooh, Kongya might be able to find him.
Ooh,
Tries to hit him with the spear, but not quite going to connect.
Maybe Mission can come top?
Yeah, Likai's all-out is running out, so I think they're going to back away from now.
Yeah, didn't have any mana. Does wisely choose to back off. Mission is going to go for a reset of his own again. And with that first dragon picked up and no trade on the other side of the map, you do feel good about that as the side of Impunity. Want to try and get these dragons stacked up nice and early. Force Zeri Lulu to fight before they're really well and truly online. So far, no kills picked up. It's just kind of standard laning. And the only sum has been burned in that top lane was Driver losing the flash just in the 1v1. Lost Chapter now here for 1116. Does give him the mana in order to contest some of this Galio wave clear. Even has the Chaos Storm if he needs to kind of get the priority at a moment's notice. But once Mission gets more points in his queue, the wave clear really adds up. As Nature is just going to grab that ward before returning back to bot lane most likely. And it is Noon Quivers picked up for both ADCs. Fang base with more gold than last game. Just didn't pick up that Vamp Scepter. Also probably doesn't need it, just with the Lulu here as well. Should be mitigating a lot of that damage just through the shields as Mission spots out Kongyue, yoinks away just one Raptor.
Funny moves from Mission. Gold lead though, still very much even on both sides. Not much action yet to happen.
Ooh, trades coming out in top. It is the Sheen here for Driver and actually the Barmies for Lokai. Seen a lot of different Cassante builds, but sometimes just pick up the Sheen early for a bit more early pressure. Not to be this game, though. And now, Herald is spawning in another 30 seconds, and I would kind of expect...
Nature comes out. Finds a great entrance, connects the Void Seeker as well. Fing taking a bit of damage, but giving some back in return as well. Overall trade going to go pretty evenly.
Oh, very heavy
Alex
trades.
is here, though. Ooh. Not quite going to be close enough to find the engage.
No, it's going to need to back away, and I think that Alex probably will want to reset to that top side and start up the Herald with the Galio. We'll need to be careful, though. There is a trade. Kongyue Ghost is burned so early.
Being going forwards, yeah, super early. Kongyue wasn't even on the same screen yet and gets spotted up by the ward as well. So he's going to be cupping a base for now, I think, as both junglers start to pass towards the Rift Herald.
And I want to say this Rift Herald should be going the way of Impunity, especially with this Galio. Although, Mission is going for the reset, so it won't be on the map with that priority just yet. And bot lane as well, as the side of Beyond that resets first. Will Kino path towards the Herald? He's pathing towards mid, so giving himself options. And where will Fang go? I'd expect him just to go straight bot, but maybe. Yeah, it looks like he is just going to path straight bot. Keep himself farming. Has that Vamp Scepter picked up now as well. And I think the longer you can stall here as Beyond, the better it gets for you. You don't really want too many fights when you have the Zeri and the Victor, at least until you complete your mythics. Pretty heavy trades coming out in the top side, and currently going the way of Lakai. That flash is not yet up for Driver, and Kongyue is going to look to do something about that. Kino pathing up here as well. It's currently a 3v2. Alex thinks he has the gank.
Oh, this could be really bad for Alex. He has no idea that Kongyue is already in the bush. Will probably spot out Kino. Actually, no, doesn't even spot out Kino either. He's going straight in onto Likai, tunneling completely on. Oh, the sweeper spots him out, finds a Cyclone, but now First Blood going the way of Driver. Oh, going... taking out Driver, rather.
Taking out Driver, and... I think, Alex, you're right, realized with the sweeper, but I'm not sure Driver did as he continued to kind of go aggressively into that bush. And I think that's a very, very big pickup there for Beyond, because off that, they should be able to pick up a Herald. And when you're picking up first Herald as a team that has Victor Zeri, extremely greedy scaling, this is such a big win for you already.
Yeah, the fact that they didn't even have to pull up Fing either. He's just been chilling in bot lane the whole time. I have to imagine Mission is going to try and pressure him off that tower and deny as much CS as he can in return, but Kino's already on his way back.
Now, Kongyue, I wonder, will he just look to base and drop the Herald bot side? There was one plate, I believe, already taken in this bot lane. So if you can get even more gold onto Fang, would be good. And now, it doesn't even look like there's going to be any trade. Because Alex was so late back on the map, Mission, has the priority, but hasn't really been able to turn it into anything. A lot of it, I think, because of how the top play went there. And while this wave will crash, there's no one really around to back it up. Outland, I think, can't even get a plate here. It's probably going to be forced away, and now Kongyue around is spotted out on that ward. But you should kind of expect him just to drop Herald in the lane.
Well, Mission trading basically on 116. We see that phase rush coming to use in that little scuffle, but actually not dealing too much damage of his own, to be honest.
No, certainly not. And Kongyue needs to be kind of careful, I think, entering the river. I don't think you actually want a 3v3. His heal just got used by Kino.
Huh.
Yeah, okay, so they're posturing for the 4v4 around the dragon, but if I'm BYG, I think you probably don't want this fight. It feels like your Victor and Zeri aren't quite strong enough yet.
Yeah, I think if they can bait out like 1 or 2 ults from the side of Impunity, the fight can go in their favor, but without that, I feel like Impunity have too many tools to really win out in these skirmishes.
I think wise decision here by BYG. They decide instead, looks like they are just going to maybe try and drop the Herald bot. Although, actually, it looks like Kongyue goes for the no, he cancels the base, so he's just going to wait in that bush and maybe try gank Impunity's bot lane on the way back to lane. Ooh. Actually has himself in a very good position here, and Alex is pathing back towards mid.
Yeah, they have no idea. Oh my god, Nature's going to walk straight into 2. Kongyue finds 2 with Crescent Sweep as well, picks up a kill onto Nature. Allen now going to go down as well. Pops the ultimate. I don't know, wasn't quite able to make it over the wall. Double kill going the way of Kongyue.
Insane angle, I think, found there by Kongyue. Managed to just hide in that bush, and that's going to be so much gold going over to BYG. While it is 2 kills that go over to the Zen, the Herald dropped as well, and it's such a massive lead. Impunity, it's not the lead that you can kind of afford to give over. As now BYG, you know, down 2 dragons, but have to feel like looking towards that 3rd dragon when you're in a very nice position. And, you know, Impunity, they were none the wiser that Kongyue just had the flank. And the fact that they not only managed to pick up both, but they got all the sums from the Kai'Sa, as Alan tried his best to get out, but unfortunately could not. And Kongyue, he's very happy with that angle.
Yeah, really good call from him, you know, realizing that Impunity, their bot lane might just walk back into the lane and pretend nothing happened, and paying the price for it. 2 kills for 0. And not only Kongyue, but also Fing is very happy about that as well, being able to pick up a couple plates for himself as well. Just huge gold swing for them.
It really is, especially considering that they're the ones that you'd have to favor in the scaling. And something kind of interesting is that Mission has gone for the Rod of Ages, which, you know, the options on the Galio are typically the Rod of Ages or the Everfrost. It's going to try and match with a bit more scaling, but I wonder if it's the correct choice given that, you know, maybe Everfrost follow-up CC onto Fang could be nice on that engage. And I'm not sure you win out on the scaling anyway up against Victor, Zeri, Lulu. If they can pop one of those carries, you know, it can be good, but will they have the damage to kind of back it up after that? I'm not sure they will, as this bot tower, it's getting very, very low. I have to feel like we'll fall in just a couple more waves, but are going to be able to keep it alive for now. And so far, this Galio hasn't been able to find any impact on the map. Maybe looking for something now.
Kongyue going to get taunted and charmed, knocked up, completely taken out. Shutdown goes the way of Atlan. Now the Galio coming out, forcing Kino to flash. Fing escaping it out of the back of the pit as well. Big pickup there for Impunity.
Definitely was nice. The shutdown was picked up there as well. Driver's even gobbling up some plates. And the other side of the map is going to have to jump away and might get chased. Does dodge out there. So it was just Kongyue going a bit too far in without the flash. No flashes even needed to be burned from Impunity. Was just a Galio W that started that out. And I think importantly, the shutdown goes to Atlan, which is very, very important. And he's actually got himself a nice CS lead as Fang is forced away from a lot of these waves in the meantime. And while might still be down in gold overall, just given the Herald that was dropped bot before, has come back pretty nicely, and the blue buff yoinked away from Driver, Leandri, so it cancels him.
Oh, Driver actually might be in trouble here. Leakai is now here as well to try and push Driver away. I wonder if we'll be able to find it actually. No, they're going to do a little switcheroo. Driver's going to force
the great escape.
The great escape. Yeah, force the flash over the wall, but most importantly, he does survive this time.
He does, yeah. And gold lead. Oh,
maybe I spoke too soon. Leakai has gone all out. He's looking for the kill onto Driver. Well, not quite enough damage to finish him off. The Divine Sundray healing, keeping Driver alive for now. But Mission trying to see if he can get revenge for his top lane comrade. Finds the taunt, finds the Q. Not quite. Oh, actually, the last tick does find him. Mission picking up a nice freebie for himself.
Very impressive, I think, that Mission knew, or maybe didn't know. Maybe he guessed that he had the damage to kill him. I think I would have flashed for that one, but Mission, he manages to keep the flash and gets that kill as well. And now he can take this top tower. So that's a big gold injection. And Galio, I think, as your solo AP here, isn't actually a bad person to put the gold into. Maybe doesn't scale as well as a Victor, but does a surprising amount of damage, especially when he gets fed. So Impunity, they take a small gold lead here, and they are the ones that have this dragon threat already, and that will mean that BYG will be forced to contest this third dragon in only a minute. I wonder if they'll give it up and try and wait for 2 items on their carriers, because that is the risk. When you play both the Victor and the Zeri, there is no real bridge from the carries that can kind of allow you to scale for free. Instead, it's kind of on Kongyue and Lee Kai to carry this fight, but it might be difficult.
Yeah, it does feel like Impunity had a bit of a wobbly early game, to be honest, but despite that, they're ahead in gold. They've got 2 dragons to their name. And somehow they're looking like they're the favorites to win out in this next dragon fight as well. It feels like Lee Kai, after picking up the early kill for himself, hasn't been able to find much from it. Kongyue getting locked on by Alex. Charm is going to find him as well. Knock up as well, you have to assume. Oh, actually does survive with his life. That Lulu ult coming in handy for making sure his jungler stays alive. Fing going a little bit too far forward. It's going to stay alive for now. Taunted up. No Cyclone available anymore. Dropped very low. 1 hit away from death. Dashing over the wall. Nature, though, going in so far. Driver doesn't find the counter-strike onto anyone. Alex dropped very low. Kongyue going back in, finds a kill, trades his life for it. 1-on-1-6, now picking up another one for himself as well. It's so back and forth. 3 for 3.
Yeah, wow. What an absolute mess of a team fight. I couldn't even really follow what was happening. It looks like it is Impunity who have the health bars high enough after to start up this Herald, but maybe need to be a little careful. If they invest too much tempo into this, could find themselves with no setup onto that dragon. And I'd be really interested to see the damage numbers for that fight. Because Feng, he ended up flashing forward, but got so low and then, couldn't really DPS. So initial engage comes out onto Alex. And it was a nice re-engage, but look how much time Kongyue with the wild growth on him buys. Just tanks up multiple members here for so long, and the Galio, you have to feel like, was a little wasted. Feng, I think, was feeling himself perhaps a bit too much. Went in and without the cleanse, was CC'd up for a long time, felt very, very low. Managed to get out. And so much CC getting traded back and forth. 1-6 also really benefiting from the fact they were all grouped up there. Managed to snipe himself a kill onto Atlan at the very end. I really hope we return to live soon because I want to see what's happening around this dragon.
Well, BYG, it looks like they've established control for themselves. 3 control wards in the river means that they have a lot of space to work with. Impunity, though. Look at Driver, though.
He's got a great flank.
Such a good flank. The water's going to swat him out. Going to see him. But now BYG, they're in a bit of a tricky situation. They can't move forward too far, otherwise Driver will have a really good angle onto their backline. Driver going to jump away for now. Dragon now at 3k HP. Alex looking for the smite. Charm comes out. Nature not going to find anyone with the grand entrance, though. Kino going to be the target, forced to flash away. Lee Kai going to get taken out by Alex. And now BYG, they're looking for the re-engage. Impunity forced back for now. Dragon still sitting at now 2k HP. Alex, he doesn't have the smite available. Kongyue does have it up. Is going to take that one away from Impunity. Third Dragon going the way of BYG. Now Kongyue finding a shutdown onto Mission. Driver running away for his life. Atlan doing the same thing. Fing looking for the chase. Dashing over the wall. Atlan, he doesn't quite have the ultimate available. Is going to be available now. Flash 2. Going to be forced out of him to try and get out of that fight. The Dragon. Big dragon there for BYG, and the fight went their way as well.
It did. I think massive win there for the side of BYG. They managed to get the shutdowns, have themselves a gold lead, and get their first dragon, which definitely slows down Impunity's dragon win condition here. And you kind of saw in the damage charts for that fight, I believe it was 1116's Victor who did almost 5,000 damage. And crucially, the Galio ult was not yet up here, as well as the Kai'Sa ult. So while this engage comes out, there's no follow-up, and also did not manage to catch Feng. You can kind of see Mission kind of just spend the fight playing almost like a mage because he just doesn't have the ult. It's just poking with Q. And then Impunity, they kind of get stuck trying to go forward, but Feng on the Zeri, they just don't have the threat onto him anymore. And once again, it feels like Impunity, they have the tools, but they just don't quite line them up well enough. And so it is Beyond who, I think, find themselves with a lead in this game now. The strongest scaling comp and picking up that drag as well as a gold lead. Feel very comfortable with your position.
Yeah, Impunity, as you said, they have all the tools they need to be able to pick off Feng, but they're not quite able to connect the puzzle pieces well enough in their execution. And as soon as Feng sees those key abilities go on cooldown, he has the freest fight of his life as long as he's not flashing forward into the front line. And really just making short work of Impunity.
Really does, yes. Looks now like we most likely will just be farming for the next 3 minutes, but I think that is something that favors the side of Beyond. Can just wait for all their sums as well as 2 items to be completed on both their carries. It is the Void Staff already picked up by the Victor, and it should be the Hurricane now completed for Feng. And so Impunity, you really have to find some sort of massive engage, but it honestly feels like time is sort of running out. I don't think you can scale nearly as well as the enemy comm. Now, they do have a Herald. Can they break mid with it? I'm not even sure they can do that.
I think it's not quite going to be enough. They might actually be able to take it out before it even hits the turret. It's going to be close. Kongya has the smite. Yeah, Reptile finds no value at all for Impunity. Especially considering they traded so much tempo on the Dragon for that. It's a really, really sad state of events for them.
And maybe the last shining light in this game for Impunity is Driver. Has himself a very sizable lead over Lakai, despite the laning phase being a bit hit or miss.
Kongya dashing straight in on the minion wave. That's some Chad gameplay from him. Actually has to pop the ultimate, but I'm not too sure what he's going for there. He really wanted the mid prior, but got a little bit too excited. Nature,
oh,
no, Nature.
All right, we're banning this guy from Rakan. It's not looking the best, as Baron is actually getting started up. They know Kongyu and Lakai get chunked out, and I don't think BYG know. They're probably not expecting this. Now, they get the blue trinket, and TP will come in.
Oh, they know.
Rakan ult's missing, though. I think you back away from this as Impunity.
Yeah, this is such a desperation play for them. They are thankfully going to move away from the pip of Kongyu. He's actually getting straight in. He's not had enough just quite yet. Now, BYG actually turning their sights on the Baron. I don't know if this really works out either. Impunity, they still have some key ultimates available. Alex looking for a side angle onto them in the Baron pit. It's now dropped at half HP. Alan and Mission waiting around the Tri-Bush as well. 5k HP, they're out on vision. They have to try and slow it down and try and force Atlan and Mission away. Nature trying to staunch them off. TP comes out, and now BYG, they're looking. Alan is way out of position. Mission trying to slow them down, finds a taunt onto 2, but the rest of the team members are completely separated. They find an engage onto 116, force the stopwatch. Leakai hasn't gone all out quite yet. Cyclone finds a few, but Leakai, he's gone all out. He's going crazy. Alan taken out. Double kill for the side of Feng. Now Nature, the only surviving member.
And just like that, it feels like Impunity's hopes in this game are just ripped away in a fight that was so massively favored there for Beyond. You know, we're missing again the Ricano, and Galliot wasn't even used for Mission. So they have this, you know, extremely straightforward one-dimensional comp, and they can't manage to line it up. It's now BYG who pick up the Baron and are really running away with the game. The next Dragon only in 35 more seconds, and that's one that Impunity, I don't think they will be able to contest. As we get a replay, now TP comes in from Driver very late, and I think nice by Atlan to kite that out, but Mission, he's kind of just stuck, you know, very far in. You can kind of see Feng can literally just run rings around him. Can't do much, and the Zhonya's from 116 buys so much time. I think didn't even eventually go down, managed to survive for so long. And, you know, Impunity, your whole game plan rests around killing one person in these team fights. And if you can't even find that, there's no way that you can match them in those extended DPS fights, especially now. I mean, if you look at the damage, it just does favor the side of Beyond. And Kongyu as well managed to do 3,300 damage on the Xin Zhao. Very much a carry threat here as Impunity. They've got themselves a flank and they're looking for some last-ditch effort, but I think Feng, with the flash, should feel very, very safe. Can Nature finally
moving
find
so far forward. He really is feeling himself. And I think that a big defining point of that last fight was Nature. He actually found 3 with the Grand Entrance, but it was just too little too late. You know, they really have to find that onto Feng at the start of the fight. It's just not enough for them now. They're 4K behind. BYG, they've got complete control of the mid lane.
Oh, Nature, he's very, very low. Does get chunked out, and that should be Dragon going the way of Beyond. Mission has been in this push for the last minute at least. Now, Driver is still very, very strong. He's got priority on that side wave, and that potentially gives him a way in. With the Ricano as well as the Galliot, there is always that engage.
Dragon's already taken out, going the way of BYG. Now the fight is ensuing. Mission, the first target, forced the stopwatch. Nature finds a few with his ultimate. Actually, Feng trapped into a corner. Likely going to have to flash over the wall. Atlan tries to flash over to find that kill. It's going to get shut down, actually. Impunity, they're looking like they're going to try and turn this one around. Now Kongya, the one forced to stopwatch. Tables have turned shut down this time, goes the way of Driver. And now Impunity, they might have found their way back into the game.
They certainly have. We're finding themselves down very far, but clearly not out. as they managed to somehow get a miracle team fight. Now, they did invest a lot of flashes for that. It was both carry flashes from the side of Impunity, but Feng's got traded out as well, and this will defuse the Baron completely. Somehow, the gold remains very close even now, so we'll get a replay of what happened. So it was multiple flank angles found here by Impunity, and so much committed onto mission initially. Feng found himself just completely locked in a corner, flashed away, but is crucially separated completely from his team. And it kind of felt like Beyond shouldn't have been able to lose this fight, but I think just the way they positioned in the river allowed too many angles from the side of Impunity. And it was a massive shutdown the driver picked up. Look at the lead he has now. 60
man.
CS in that side lane and a level lead as well.
He does really not want to lose this game.
Certainly does not. And, you know, for the first time, I think Feng is out DPS pretty heavily, was just, again, kind of stuck in the corner. Once again, somehow, Kongyue is the top damage for his team, which really goes to show he is the star player of this lineup. No matter what champ he's playing, finds so much impact. Engage on the nature.
I'm not going to find too much this time, but dominance has been asserted.
And take a look now at those top lane items. It's pretty much a full item lead for Driver in the top side, who is doing a great job in the 1v1 in game one, but couldn't translate it into the team fights. Here on the Jax, though, is looking a lot better. And Impunity, they would hate to be down 2 games to Beyond. If they can tie things up here in the 1-for-1, it would be good.
Definitely would be optimal for them.
Certainly hope so. Driver, he's going to move back towards this bot lane. You know, it does have pressure over the side lane, but it's so difficult to ever actually dive or take towers from the Cassante. Instead, we'll just be looking to kind of use that priority to continue to get flanks, and he's now going to find himself at level 16, a 2-level lead for him, and it's actually extremely difficult for Feng to deal with, especially given that he won't have the flash and Driver will. Objectives aren't up for another couple of minutes, so that gives time maybe for Feng to reach the Navori before then.
Yeah, definitely going to be rushing towards that, especially since Alan has already got 3 completed items to his name. Him and Driver really the main DPS forces behind their lineup. It's just on the rest of their team to try and fight those engages. Nature in the last fight, you know, he was set up for success by the 2 flanking members, but despite that, you know, able to find such a good grand entrance and force Feng into the corner that he found himself in. They need to try and reproduce that as closely as possible.
Yeah, I think the more flanks you can get, the better. Especially, as Driver, he's been looked at, does just manage to jump away. Now a 70 CS lead in the 1v1. Extremely nice for him. 2 more minutes until you have to feel everything will kind of come undone. Will be fights forced. Alex, he's got himself some sort of flank. Shirelia's, you know, he's been healing and Shirelia's and doing whatever he needs to really to prop the boys up. It is the Navori now completed for Feng, so that's a very big spike. But the Hurricane as well comes in from Atlan. So 80 carries pretty much matched for items. Really that top lane that you're kind of looking towards. And 3 items now completed for both mid laners as well, ahead of what is going to be a very crucial fight. I wonder as well if anyone looks towards the Baron instead. Baron, I think, can fall very quickly with how strong the ADCs are now. And given that it's up a full 30 seconds before the Dragon, it gives you quite a lot of time. Currently, Impunity are the ones that hold the control around that area. Kongyue is going to maybe try and take a little bit of this back, but has to be very careful face checking. It's kind of the only one of his team that can. Lee Kai is stuck in that side lane. Has been engaged on before. If he can take any ults for Feng, though, it would be very good, as it looks like BYG, they enter the river and will regain control. I wonder if they look to start this up and try to get Driver away from the split push. It looks like they do. Yeah, TP is available, and they have the flanks.
Well, Impunity, they have vision on it. TP comes out from Lee Kai. They're really committing a lot to this.
Beyond have to be very careful. They're once again kind of trapped between 2 sides. They need to collapse on one. They're looking on mission.
Oh, Impunity, they have BYG completely trapped into the river. Alex finding the initial engage onto 3 with the Cyclone, following up with the Galio ult. And, BYG, they're looking to try and get out of this. 1 kill goes down. Feng, crucially, Driver on a killing spree. Now Lee Kai trying to wreak as much havoc as he can on the backline. Mission flashing forward, but realizing he might be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Impunity, that's trying to shut down Lee Kai now. It's 2v1. Driver's so strong now on the Jax. Level 17, finds a counter-strike, finds a great entrance. Another kill going the way of Driver, and Impunity once again. Well, actually, it's a 2 for 2. I didn't expect that.
It was very close. I think Lee Kai managed to snipe 2 members in that backside. And also, the Victor was dealing so much damage, but I think it is kind of surprising. Like you said, Impunity, they basically had the perfect team fight set up, flanks from every angle. And I think Beyond have to be very careful positioning like this. If you're split like this, you need to chase down one side very early on. Instead, so much knockup has come through, but Kongyue's ult actually stops Driver from getting in the fight for so long. Feng gets taken out very early, but pay attention to the Cassante. Single-handedly takes out the Kai'Sa on the backline, which was very, very important in this fight. Unfortunately, wasn't shown here, but Mission, he did flash in and forced to run away. And the Jax so strong. That 2-level lead as well as an entire item here. They just cleaned it all up as we return to live, and it looks like this third drag will go the way of Impunity. They now have themselves a gold lead once more.
Yeah, Impunity, their champions are looking more and more scary. 2 stopwatches for Driver and Alex respectively as well. Means that next fight is going to be even more interesting. They have so many more tools at their disposal. Definitely play a lot more freely.
Driver rapidly approaching the flame horizon in his 1v1 as well.
Oh
so
my goodness.
far ahead.
Oh,
Does not have the
BYG.
TP, so is actually going to have to get back here. I believe it is the Hextech drag, so he can take the portal, which he will.
VOG actually not committing too much to this. I think they're trying to bait in a fight from Impunity, but questionable whether or not they even want that. Impunity, they've got both sides once again. The Hexgate coming in with the flank as well. Driver's right behind them. BYG, they have to find a way out of here. Nature finds a great entrance onto 0 people. And now Feng trying to dish out as much DPS as he can. He is relatively uncertain, dashes away from Driver on the Jax, but he's not able to pump out quite as much as he would want. Kino forced to be separated away from his ADC, and now it's Feng, the only the remaining DPS from the side of BYG. Now Likai trying to do as much as he can as well, but Impunity flashing forward. Mission gets knocked up. Driver now forced to stopwatch as well. Feng hiding this out super well, but Void Seeker is going to end his life. Double kill for Atlan.
Impunity, I think they can play for the end. That bot wave is pushed in. There are no TPs available, but death time is long as they're going to path down towards that. And it looks like in a 31-minute game, Impunity, they might be looking for the win. Can they actually get it? Oh my god, look at the damage dealt by Feng in that team fight. Was almost 8,000. I think they've done it. There's no Victor up for 15 more seconds, so they are going to tie up the series 1-1. And honestly, I feel like Impunity had no business winning this game with the way it started, but an absolute 1v9 performance coming out from Driver. Has himself almost 100 CS lead in the side lane. What just a 1v9 machine.
Yeah, this guy has just been on fire so far this playoffs, and this game was definitely no exception. He just kept slowly and steadily building up his lead in that Jax versus Cassante matchup. A matchup that we've seen go both ways, but not in his case.
No, certainly not. And I wonder, they, on the side of Impunity, they did manage to get this Jax on the red side, right? Which I think is, going through second phase bans. I think banning, it was the Talia as well as the Ori that were banned away. Maybe you drop one of those for the Jax because there were a lot of Jax counters banned away. But alternatively, I mean,